Hi, everybody. Welcome from the MENA region, from the main panel from the MENA region. We're going to start off with a little presentation. It's about 5 minutes. For those of you who are not familiar with our region here, it just tells you a little bit about who are the main players, the buyers and sellers, and a little bit about the sellers. And then we'll move on to speaking with our lovely panelists. So my name is Heba Kurayim. I'm a content market consultant, and I'm going to tell you what is MENA. So basically, it's Middle East, North Africa. No rocket science there. And what's common is the Arabic language. It's not religion; it's the Arabic language. There are 22 Arabic-speaking countries. There's 8 popular spoken dialects in MENA. A lot of money, collective GDP, and in terms of the media industry, there's more than 700 satellite TV channels in MENA, more than 15 regional OTT platforms, and they're increasing, about 20 telecom IPTV networks, and hundreds of production companies. Oh, and camels. Who are the content buyers in the region? Similar to many other places in the world, obviously, they're the TV channels. Now more popular, the OTT platforms, the telcos and in-flight content aggregators and distributors. That's very similar to the rest of the world. We're going to talk about 3 specific. I'm not going to cover them all, but I'm going to talk about the popular ones. So here it's a little visual about the satellite channels. And, this one is interesting because there's always debates about TV is dying and whatnot. But the fact is, in the MENA region, if you look at big markets like Algeria, Egypt, the viewership of TV is still at around 90%. So TV is still a thing, traditional TV. The popular satellite positions in MENA are 7/8 West, that's Nilesat, there's Arabsat, there's Yahsat, and there's a few more, but I just put the main ones there. And in terms of the TV channels, there is 924 free-to-air channels in the MENA region, 178 pay TV channels, and that's including the international ones with a footprint within the region. The pay TV channels, if you look at the graph on the left, are mainly located, the headquarters are mainly from GCC. There are 0 pay TV channels anywhere else in the region. The biggest number of channels originating are from Egypt, and that's very, it's a kind of a known fact because Egyptian is the widely consumed content here. It's changing a little bit now, but it has always been like that. What are they broadcasting? Now, this is important for those who want to sell into the region. What are these channels looking for? And I did a quick analysis based on the most popular satellite, the 7/8 position. And that's, so I know the numbers are really small, but I'm gonna read out the most popular ones. Now, in terms of percentages, the highest is the general entertainment and general entertainment channels. That makes about 20% of the total. And those are mainly talk shows, general family entertainment channels. Followed by movies and series, and then comes the religious content and sports. So these are the main, channels that are available in the region. Now, the interesting part, the OTT platforms, like I said, they're increasing in the region. There are more than 15 of them, and I know that our lovely panelists will have fun seeing their logos on the screen. But the interesting part is there is more, at least 5 more OTTs launching before next year. And what that means is more content into the region and more demand for content. Now, I know a lot of content sellers, international ones, as well as the regional ones, they want to find out where these people are. How can we offer them our content? And so I made a little visual here, and it's pretty straightforward. They're all in Dubai. Well, not all of them, but there's, the majority. The UAE headquarters is the main place for these players. Obviously, there's more content buyers in the region. These are the ones I talked about are the main ones. There's telcos, IPTV networks, in-flight, obviously, there's demand there, aggregators and distributors. And I know a lot of international companies are doing business with distributors because they find that the MENA region is a little bit too difficult to navigate. And I'll tell you why in a second. It's because of content localization. So a lot of the international content sellers come to me and say, we're just going to dub into Arabic and we'll start selling into the region. And the answer to that is there's no such thing as dub into Arabic. There are different dialects of Arabic, and I've done sort of I've color coded the main four dialects that are widely understood within the region. Now, for example, if Egypt is known to be the most widely understood dialect in the region, but that does not mean that you go and dub everything into Egyptian, because it really depends on the type of content. And this is, there's lots of experimenting going on, but in the following slide, it will give you a little bit of a direction of how localization happens in the region. So how do we localize content? And this is it the last? Yes, it is. I tried to make things very, very simple. It's not as simple as this slide, but it gives a pretty good idea of how looking at numbers, what proportion is chosen to be dubbed into Egyptian or Syrian or classical or subtitled. So Egyptian Arabic is, from what I've seen, most of the comedy series or movies are dubbed into Egyptian Arabic. And also there is, and also animation. There was a little bit of debate about animated movies, especially with Disney releases. They tried the classical Arabic. There was, back in 2016, there was a little bit of resistance from audiences, so they decided to go back into Egyptian Arabic. So like I said, there's a little bit of experimentation going on. Syrian Arabic, because Syria has the most wonderful dubbing houses in the region, so it's dominating within the dubbing field. Turkish series, the Spanish telenovelas, Bollywood, we see a lot of it dubbed into Syrian. And contrary to the wide belief that Arabic is the widely used Arabic is classical Arabic or white Arabic, a lot of the animations are dubbed into that kind of Arabic. But Kamel will talk to us a little bit more about that. But also we see a lot of documentaries and some dramas, specifically Korean and Asian, but I think that's changing a little bit also. With subtitling, not everything obviously is suitable for subtitling, but we see a lot of Western movies and series being subtitled, and that's obviously a cheaper option, but it doesn't always work, but it's there. And we also see some documentaries and some of the Korean and Asian dramas being subtitled. So these are the dubbing dialects. I hope it makes sense now, that why I said no such thing as dubbing into Arabic. And I'm done. Have some popcorn. So now we're going to move on to our lovely panelists, and I will start with ladies first. Nadine, we would love to hear about your wonderful platform, WeYak. I know that you started it from the very beginning, and it grew to several million subscribers. And so, tell us a little bit about a background about yourself and about the WeYak, the platform.
Hi, Ba. Thank you so much for having me here. So excited to have a discussion with you guys. My name is Nadine Samra. I'm the Chief Business Officer for WeYak. WeYak is a video-on-demand platform targeting Arabic audience wherever they are. It's a global platform. And we are part of or owned by Z Entertainment. Z Entertainment is a global broadcaster. We have over 85 channels across the world. So immediately, the first thing that would come to mind is in terms of dubbing, is the Bollywood and Indian dubbed content series. And accordingly, in WeYak, we have almost 50% of our library to be Arabic dubbed Indian content, whether it is series or movies. And all of that content is exclusive to us. The rest of the content is acquired Arabic content and some produced content by WeYak as well. So this is more or less about Wayak. We've been in the market now for around 4 years. We're seeing a lot of traction from users across the MENA region and globally, where the Arabic audiences are concentrated. In MENA region, we are very popular in GCC, in Egypt, in Iraq, in Morocco as well. And and we're looking for more actually.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nadine. Abe, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself? And also, I know that you're running a platform that's very, diverse in terms of content that's available. Please talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I'm the regional GM of View in the Middle East. So View is basically it's an OTT service. It's a premium OTT service. We're available across 16 different markets from Southeast Asia, Myanmar, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines. So a lot of, we're pretty dominant in the Southeast Asian market. But we're also available in the Middle East and South Africa. I look after the Middle Eastern market, so which is mostly GCC, Egypt, Kuwait, Jordan, and Iraq. So I think just like any other global service, we create content and we leverage our strengths across different markets that we operate in. But what is very unique about us is that we have a very local approach to each market. So in the Middle East, it's not that we try to just import content from other markets and localize it. A lot of our focus in the Middle East is around local content. So we do a lot of Arabic content, we do a lot of Arabic acquisition, we do Arabic content production. Also, in addition to localizing and getting content that we see is very successful in other markets. One of our key strengths is, for example, Korean content that we have global deals on. That's one of the key strengths that we have in the Middle East as well. So that content, we've been able to really penetrate the Middle Eastern market with that Korean content, and it's doing extremely well for us. In addition to other original content that we produced in other markets. So we've produced content in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Philippines, and we take that content and we try to localize it to whether it's the diaspora in the Middle East or the Arabs that are interested in Asian content. But our biggest focus really is Arabic content. So we've been doing a lot of originals coming out of Egypt, out of UAE, out of Jordan, out of Saudi. This Ramadan alone, we have 9 originals that are being released this Ramadan. And I think, I hope you guys can watch it.
9 originals, that's a lot. Wow. I'm going to get to that again, because I think that's really interesting. Kamil, please introduce yourself. You are the king of animations in the region since the 1990s. So please tell us a little bit more about specifically the platform and a little bit background about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Kamil Reis. I'm the business director for Spacetoon TV and the GM for Spacetoon Go, the newly launched VOD platform. So as you know, Spacetoon has been for the past, you could say 21 years now in the Middle East, pioneering the Middle East animation industry so far. So we've been broadcasting for the whole MENA region, 22 countries across the Middle East, bringing, content from globally from Japan, Europe, and the US, localizing them into the classic language, as you said, and releasing it into the Arabic language. So far, back in 2019, end of 2019, we've launched Spacetoon Go, our VOD platform. So we started, we saw the shift of the digital transformation from our YouTube channel. We had 5 million subscribers, 2 billion views, and so on. So we're seeing that kind of shift. So we said that we need to launch it. And it was we were lucky that we launched it before, the pandemic hit. So we got an expansion growth that could happen, 7 million downloads, 5 million registered users in almost a year in 2020. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. We're trying our best, to bring our audience, the TV audience, to use our platform, plus expanding to new markets and audiences.
Well, very, very good timing, Kamil. We're going to get to the details of that. Walid, 10 Time is a platform, and I love your slogan, talk to me in Arabic. And I know a little bit about the business model, but I'd love you to tell us more about 10 Time and the business model.
I started by saying we're new to the scene, but we're extremely aggressive. We started last year by acquiring a large amount of exclusive foreign content. All of this content was dubbed in our own studios in Syria. So we have our own dubbing studios. We started our original production this year. So we have between 6 to 7 series and shows to be launched this year. Nonetheless, we are continuing the acquisition of foreign content that will be dubbed or subtitled in not only in Arabic, but also in languages around the region that have not had that done. Maybe Farsi, Kurdish, and so on. So acquisition is as important, not as important, but also it is an important part of the business. Our platform also boasts a very large music library. We're starting also to engage in original production in music. We have a subsidiary that is a music production company. And we're interested in promoting young upcoming artists in the whole region. This is in brief. We look to expand very quickly, and we look to go beyond the traditional markets of the region, hopefully.
Walid, where are your subscribers mostly based in the Middle East?
Well, the most now, very interesting, it's in Iraq. Now the Gulf in terms of UAE, Jordan, and Syria, and Lebanon. What is extremely interesting is we have a very good growth in North African markets like Algeria and Morocco. And we have quite a few markets in Europe and North America. So this is, but the majority are MENA. That's about 90% of the target audience.
Well, I guess it makes sense because, like you said, if you wanted a variety of dubbed content. But before I move on to the main question, you mentioned something interesting, which is you acquire international content, or exotic international content. You know, you mentioned Farsi and Kurdish, and you make it available to Arabic audience. How do you choose when to subtitle and when to dub?
We dub everything. Subtitling will be for audiences that do not speak Arabic. Virgin markets like the Kurdish speaking population, like the Farsi population, and so on. So most of our, to date, all our content is dubbed in Arabic, all the foreign content.
And that's Syrian Arabic, right?
Yes. You mentioned that dubbing is not, we believe Syrian is the language to go to. It is now it became the reference for any dubbed content in the region. We've looked into dubbing in Iraqi and Gulf, but even those markets from our research the population there will not be very attracted to believe it or not, to their own dialect.
Well, there's 2 Egyptians here on the panel, so you gotta watch.
I agree.
I love the Egyptian language, and I don't know why it is Syrian, but this is the reality.
I agree with you.
I can't imagine myself watching a Turkish show dubbed in Egyptian. You just wouldn't buy it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers show exactly the same of what you're saying, Walid, so I totally see what you're coming from. Nadine, I wanted to ask you, Nadine, in terms of, I know that your content is very Bollywood centric, and and Bollywood is the 3rd most consumed drama series in the Gulf specifically. And so, can you tell us more about your acquisition process? And I'm going to also ask you within the same question about releasing your original productions. And now it's Ramadan. I know there was an announcement regarding that as well. I'd love to hear more from you.
Yeah, sure. So basically, our acquisitions are normally on the Arabic content side, so the Arabic originated content per se. When it comes to the Indian content, which is the most content that's really beloved in our platform, it comes naturally from Z Entertainment. Since Z has probably the largest library in India when it comes to famous drama series and movies and others. Now, what's really interesting as well is that we produce Indian original content just for online, for digital. That goes on both platforms, on Z5 and on Wayak. On Wayak, we dub it into Arabic. On Z5, we leave it in the Indian language, and we have several Indian languages as well in it. And this content is really produced and to the best standards, world-class content, very interesting, edgy storylines, and we're seeing a lot of traction towards that content on our platform as well. In addition, definitely to the classic series, Indian series, that always tops our charts. So there are some series, believe it or not, that we have been having it on the platform since 4 years, as an example. And until now, it is on the top 10 viewed content on a monthly basis, despite all of the other content that we get, whether it is Arabic or Indian or Turkish, because we also acquire Turkish content and series and movies. So that's from the content perspective. You were asking about one more question you had.
Original productions.
Right. So we started our journey with the general productions last year. We started with only one content as a drama series. This year, our intention is to increase the number of productions that we do, Arabic originated productions per se, because the Indian content that's being developed just for digital, we have a lot on our pipeline. So it's not a small amount. Last year, we have released 10 Indian, and this year we are planning to have from our own productions around 20 to 25. In Ramadan itself, we have released 9 Indian. That's original content for digital on Z5 and on Wayak. When it comes to Arabic, as I told you, last year we have done 1 original content. This year we are planning to do more. We did 3 shows for Ramadan that we have already released, and we're planning to go more into producing series throughout the year. Of course, chapeau to you. I mean, you guys have done a great job in producing the series in Ramadan. I am already viewing some of your content, and it's really amazing. So yeah, that's a great job from you guys.
Thanks.
You know, I have to ask you, Nadine, before moving on to Abe. Within that question as well, you mentioned that you admire the content that you see from View. So what kind of partnerships, when you look at producing Arabic content or any content, what kind of partnerships are you seeking for that purpose?
So we do co-productions, we do productions completely on us with executive producers. We've done that model as well. And to be honest with you, when it comes to business development in general, I'm really open in terms of partnerships, whether on the production itself, whether on the platform, on content side. So there is, I believe in the business development world, there is no ceiling, there is no particular rules. I love the creativity of coming with new ways of developing businesses. We've done quite a few nice deals previously and going forward as well. So there is no particular lines for how this partnership needs to be done. We've done a lot with telcos as well. We've been very active with telcos, very active with even other OTTs, believe it or not. We've done a very nice deal last year with Dubai TV and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now you're open to partnerships. Abe, can you tell us about the strategy of your acquisitions process? I know some of it comes from Asia, but then you have control here, and you produced 9 drama series. That's huge for an OTT. That's So I'd love to hear more about that, and also about your approach to partnerships and cooperation with other platforms.
Sure. So As I said earlier, our approach at View is very local. It's local centric. So our approach in the Middle East varies very differently from that of the team in Indonesia or Malaysia. So we look at View in the Middle East as a predominantly Arabic service. Okay, so our primary focus is local Arabic audience in the Middle East. And in order to win the audience, you need to go strong with regards to Arabic content. Yes, we do Western, we do Asian content, we do other content. That is ancillary, I would say, and it's not the primary focus. It's great to have. It expands our and it gives us a competitive edge over other players with regards to something that we have that they don't have. But if you can't win on the Arabic front, or if you can't be strong and have a strong Arabic base, then you're in the wrong market, and you shouldn't be in the Middle East to begin with. So with regards to our strategy, we have always thought of ourselves as a freemium service. And by freemium, I mean we are an SVOD service, but we also offer a lot of free content. And this has been our strategy in all markets. And when we started here in the Middle East, we said, okay, we need to crack the market. First of all, the Middle East is predominantly a free-to-air market. SVOD and paying for content is something that has never really picked up over the years. So we said, okay, in order to do that, what is it that we need to do in order to really drive demand for subscriptions? And it was very easy. It's content. You need to be able to produce content that is behind the paywall, that is premium, that there's scarcity in. People cannot find such content and want to subscribe to. Getting free content that's on TV and putting it behind the paywall, we didn't believe is good enough. You need to create content, and you need to create stronger windows and longer windows, which didn't exist in the past. So our real focus when we started, we said, okay, we have to really invest in original content. We need to invest in premium original content. But at the same time, as a freemium service, as somebody that wants to offer free content and speak to the masses, we also need to have free simulcast content, which in today's day and age is also becoming extremely hard. And I think the Middle Eastern media scene before the Arab Spring and after the Arab Spring is completely different. There's been a lot of consolidation happening on the TV front, whether it's between broadcasters and TV networks and production companies. So it's becoming a lot more difficult to acquire content today. So if you're an OTT service in Ramadan 2021 and you wanted to go out and buy series, well, you didn't have much options. You'll probably be able to get 2020 series or 2019 or library content, but getting simulcast fresh content is becoming extremely difficult, if not impossible. So again, you need to also, from that standpoint, produce. And what we've done that is very unique and very different and allowed us to scale with regards to original content is we said, okay, the original content that we produce with the intention of putting it behind a paywall and to drive our SVOD strategy, that is content that we produce and we put behind a paywall. But there's also content that we produce and we sell to other broadcasters. So in Ramadan, it being a free-to-air culture and everybody's watching content on TV, but also catching up and watching it online. So we said, okay, why don't we produce content and sell it to broadcasters that are not able to produce themselves, especially
Are any of the nine productions, Abe, on free to air?
All 9 are. Actually, no, 8 of them are. So
and then one is behind the paywall?
One is, so we've just released 2 originals right before Ramadan in the month of Feb and March, and these were series that were just designed to go behind a paywall and drive up subscriptions. These were Wadi Gin and Ansaf Maganin. But going into Ramadan, we've released 8 shows that are all sold to broadcasters. So they're available across different networks, whether it's in the GCC or Saudi or in Egypt or Jordan. And we've released 1 UAE Gulf show that is currently behind the paywall.
Okay. And then it goes first on the platform and then on free to air, or is it the other way around? Is it a catch up from free to air? So
all the free ones, all the free shows are simulcast. They go on free to air. But in the Middle East, in Ramadan, there is no free-to-air and paid. So even paid TV networks run simulcast with free-to-air. It is the Middle East. It's Ramadan. So
yes, it is Ramadan. Happy Ramadan, exactly. And I'm looking at Kamel here, and he's nodding like he knows what's going on, and he knows exactly what you're talking about, because he runs not only the Spacetoon Go, but also a very popular children's TV channel. What are the similarities you see there, Kamel, within the children's world? From going into production, I know you released a very, very nice Saudi original. I really liked it. So I just want to hear from you, how's it going?
Yeah, so far, yeah, so good. I mean, like, we're a little bit different from the, drama. We don't have a lot of, problems with, like, international kind of, bringing animation, because, most of the animation is like almost a global feeling. So like producing something for the local market, it's good to have. It's not something like it's a mandate, like as our friends here. So for example, when we tried with launching Mushayya, it's a family YouTube channel based in Saudi Arabia, one of the largest YouTube influencers in Saudi. So we partnered with them mid of last year, you could say, to produce, a brand around Mushayya family, because we saw the potential of that, and there's a huge kids audience. So we said, like, how we can turn, these kind of family into animation. There are like 3-4 wonderful kids with their dad. So they have like these kind of, family oriented values that we could, push throughout the series. We launched, like almost beginning of the year, we launched the series, 13 episodes by like 11 minutes. It went, astonishing, millions of views in every episode. And now we're commissioning for season 2 for Mushayya. At the same time, we're building a whole franchise concept around the Mushayya family. So our game is more like, as well, produce content, but plus we try to build franchises around these brands. So it could stay, like for season 2, 3, and 4, and so on. So yeah, I mean, producing these are really great. We see the value in adding them. Now also we're partnering with one also big influencers in the region. I can't say now the name, it's not announced yet. So also we're producing a more similar concept, but with different, approach. We've launched a newly also brand called Happy Cappy. It's a preschool brand, so also targeting, the mothers that, have their little children that they want, to engage, like, the Coco Melon kind of songs and stuff like that. So also we enter into this game. We did it in Arabic, English, and now we launch also Spanish. So also we're trying to, enter to different languages as well at the same time with the originals, because we, in animation, as I told you, don't have like local faces. It's global at the end of the time. So you could adapt and go whatever you could see a potential for that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Kamel, but also I wanted to touch upon the fact that you have a very consistent quality of dubbing for these. I mean, the stories, like you said, can come from anywhere, and they do. But also, you're known for, if you want to watch proper Arabic, you watch Spacetoon.
100%.
When it comes to, so can you tell us more?
Yeah, as you said,
dubbing process.
Yeah, so Spacetoon throughout the 21 years have been almost, they call it the Spacetoon dubbing school, you could say now. We try to enter to the wide classic Arabic language that is understood across all the MENA region. So whatever people from Mauritania or Saudi Arabia could understand it, that they could learn even though Arabic. And we try really to work hard on the, the whole copywriting from whatever the show we acquire. We work on the copywriting for the right Arabic for it, and then we do the dubbing, and we really take, really good control about, the acting, the direction of the dubs itself. We don't just, do the any kind of dubbing just to release the show. We try every show that we bring, we try to dub it. So we could add, Spacetoon kind of touch to the show. So we were successful in doing that, and like families trusted Spacetoon because of that, because we really care about the local censorship, the local, culture. So we try in every show that we bring, whether it's from Japan or from Europe or US, we try to adapt with the local culture with that. And we were very successful, and that's why we're trying to push that as well digitally as well into our VOD platform.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wonderful. And Waleed, I know that Kamel was talking a little bit about dubbing, and that's kind of in the drama world, that's your game, right? because you're acquiring all these drama series and entertainment content from all these exotic places, and you're making them available to Arabic audiences and trying to create that relatability with international content. I'd love to know what the strategies of your programming is. How do you choose what to acquire and what not to acquire? How do you know how to dub and where, and how it's going to work with your audiences? Can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yes, sure. We have a very, I think, skilled team, a highly skilled team that evaluates the content in different regions of the world. We look for variety, we look for uniqueness. So we're not stuck with, for example, the Turkish or the Korean. We have series from North Europe, we have series from East Europe, we have from South America, especially Mexico and Brazil, and I think, Mexico and Brazil. And we look at what is popular in these countries and what is highly rated in these countries. We look at its potential with our audience, and then the decision is made. We've been able to actually dub in most languages so far, including, by the way, Indian. We have some Indian content that we buy, mostly series at this time. But this is the strategy right now concerning the foreign acquired content.
And you said you look at what's popular within the content's regions. Do you find that it's similar? I mean, when you bring that popular content here?
Not necessarily, no. But this is how we rate what we look at. So we check what is highly rated, what was very successful. For example, in Russia, we had a team evaluate it and then make a decision whether it's a go or a no-go. Also dependent, of course, on the price, cost benefit of such content to our platform and our audience.
That's amazing. Walid, when it comes to Arabic drama series, around 30% of the produced content that's coming out of the MENA region, maybe more than that, is societal stories. So, in Arabic, it's drama اجتماعية, like from the society. Now that is it kind of the same from the data that you're seeing from your subscribers? Is it, do they more what genres are they attracted towards?
It is. Drama is and social drama is very important, but we are trying to disrupt the market, not only with our acquired content, also with our original content. We're launching our first, after Ramadan, actually, we're launching. We did not want to go through the Ramadan wars, and we decided to launch after Ramadan. And it's I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but it's going to be a very interesting genre and this is what we're looking for. We're looking for something different. I think the Arabic population, Arabs all over the world, are looking for something different. We'll see how it goes.
You're keeping the suspense up. So after Ramadan, you are releasing your first original. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Is that an announcement?
It is. I think social media, the people are talking about it, and so yes, it's an announcement. Yeah.
Well, it's not a rumor anymore. 10 Time are releasing their first original after Ramadan.
After Ramadan.
Well, we'll look out for that, Walid. Thank you so much for your insight. So Nadine, back to you. I wanted to ask you, now that it's Ramadan and there is lots of content consumption happening as we speak, people are fasting and they have nothing to do all day but to obviously to pray and watch drama series. But in your opinion, how are people reacting? How are the audiences in the Middle East reacting to the variety of content now available in the Arab world, like over OTT? There's less. I remember seeing stats when I about the emergence of new genres that were too bold for TV, like crime and thriller and suspense, and these genres. We never saw that within the MENA region when it was just TV, but we see emergence of new genres. How, in your opinion, do you see that within your data, within your audiences?
See, we have a variety of content and a lot of genres. I believe we cover most of the genres that's available for the audiences. So we have content that is more on the drama side. We have crime, we have thrillers, we have horror as well. The first time we launched a horror series on our platform was 2 years back. It was called Sakan al-Talibat in Arabic. That's the dubbed Arabic name for it. And did actually well in our platform. It was an experimentation for us to see how well the content will be perceived. But let me tell you something. The genre that leads every other genre from what we have is the drama series. The drama series normally are the top of the charts. We talk about historical series as well, historical Indian series, the likes of Malikat Jansi and Joda Akbar and all of these big titles. These titles, they are produced on high quality, then people really look after them and watch them for a long time. And then the rest of the genres come after that, really. So all of the other ones come after that. Now, it's always a big difference between how I look personally into the Indian dubbed content and how I look into the Arabic content in terms of genres, in terms of how people consume that content, for how long. I believe they are two different places, two different sciences altogether. So one does not apply to the other. Like even all of the insights on the Indian content does not apply to the Arabic content and vice versa. We've tried also to produce content that is a story that was extremely successful with us as a corporate, as Z Entertainment, an Indian content that was extremely successful. We got the story, we created a similar storyline in Arabic, and we produced that content in a drama series like.
What's the name of it?
I don't remember actually. I need to come back to you with that. I forgot. That was 3 years back.
Oh, okay.
And it did well, but not extraordinarily well as we thought. The Indian original one did much better. So what I'm trying to say with that is that the viewing habits of the audience when it comes to the Indian content does not really apply to the Arabic, and the Arabic does not apply to the Indian. And there are lots of interesting insights from both of the sides of the story, whether it's genres, whether it's the time that's being spent, the time that the user actually clicks on skip or goes into the next episode, right? I mean, that's what keeps Ramadan even more interesting for me, because Ramadan is considered a season where there is a flood of Arabic content everywhere. We made sure to secure our space this Ramadan within the Arabic content, despite all of the challenges that Abe was referring to, that we were part of, for sure. I mean, it was absolutely difficult to secure Arabic content this year, but we were able to do that. We have around 6 to 7 Arabic drama series, and then 3 Arabic shows that we have produced as well, which they are doing really well. One of them is humanitarian, one of them is cooking, and the other one is about celebrities and talks. And then the rest of the content that we have released for Ramadan, it's Indian dubbed into Arabic content, which is another 9. So we have around 19 new content going into the market this Ramadan on a daily basis, except for 3 series, which we decided to put all of the content at the beginning of Ramadan, all of it together, which is our original Indian dubbed into Arabic content. And these are, by the way, doing very, very well. As the rest of them, we are, following a daily release. And again, I mean, it's completely different from Arabic content into Indian content, the time that the user is consuming that content as well. I hope that's helpful, and I did not take you through a lot of corners.
I think it's fascinating, and I can see how that, what works for one thing doesn't work for another. But before I move on, I wanted to ask you about, when you say the series that really work on your platform is drama, are you talking about societal drama?
Sorry,
Is it
am I talking
like
about?
societal, like socio-cultural drama?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And you said also
the love stories would work really well while it is mixed with the social interaction. This type of drama is what's really working really well.
really works here in the Middle East. And also, you said you're releasing 19 titles for Ramadan. How many do you release on that's obviously higher than you would ever release during the year, right? So what's the average of releases per month?
Per month, we're looking at 5 to 6. Sometimes we go a little bit higher, but that's our average on a very regular year. And sometimes the story is different. This year, I believe the story is going to be a bit different. We're going to be investing more in content. Last year, the year of COVID, we were releasing around that number of content. Now, at the beginning of building our platform as well, the number was completely different. We were releasing a lot, like in tens of titles every month, because of the huge library acquisitions that we got. You know, at the beginning, we're trying to build the platform. So there is a lot of Arabic content that we were acquiring and a lot of Indian content that needs to go into the platform. So strategically speaking, there were a lot of content that's being put into the platform. We launched 4 years back, we launched with around 7,000 hours of content. And now we are above 20,000 hours of content. So you can imagine the regularity and the amount of content that we have been releasing.
Yeah, and you're saying that's going to be increasing also over the coming years, right?
Yeah.
As audiences shift to OTT. Wonderful. Abe, are we saying the same numbers that we're seeing with WIAC on your platform in terms of releases, you know, and also how are audiences reacting to the genres available? You know, what genres are popular and what are not? I'd like to hear that from you.
In terms of numbers, I really can't. I honestly don't keep track of number of hours of content on the platform. But we do have regular releases, and we do have a plan that we stick to. And it's a combination of how many first-run movies are we going to have, how many second-run movies, because what kind of content is being windowed, what is the simulcast, what's going to be library, and again, depending on seasonality. Come after Ramadan, it's a dead season. There isn't a lot of productions happening. Come September, you see a new flood of the new yearly grid being released. So again, depending on what part of the year, what season it is, so you'll find there is fluctuation of content. But we try to make it up for. So if there isn't a lot of Arabic content, then we get more foreign. Movies are more or less consistent. We increase the movies if we have a reduction in series. But we try to keep, there's always a consistent flow of content. There's always something new for users. Every week you come, there's something new on the platform. So yeah, we try to make that happen. In terms of, sorry, what was the other question about?
Oh, it was about the genres. So what kind of genres do you feel work well within the platform from, you know, I'm sure you monitor your audiences, what their preferences are.
So I really have an opinion about this, specifically when it comes to Arabic content. I think there's a myth with regards to Arabs liking societal melodrama and soap kind of soap opera-like TV shows. It's all they have. It's all they're getting. And for us to infer that that's what they like because that's all they're watching. No, that's all they're watching because that's all that's being produced. When the majority of the content that's being produced is like that, that's all they're going to watch. And I think it's a problem that kind of originated from broadcast media, where broadcasters kind of were very safe in this. They have a formula that works. We know this works with advertisers. Let's not rock the boat. Don't do something that's going to jeopardize. If it works, don't fix it. That's kind of the attitude I think that the market had for so many years, until you had OTT platforms coming on the scene and taking risks and pushing your traditional broadcasters and your traditional media executives and putting the heat and turning up the heat. Now they're having to react to what OTT platforms are doing. And you're seeing a lot, like with this Ramadan and previous Ramadan and with TV, you're seeing them really up their game. You're seeing a lot more variety in the kind of stories that you're watching on TV. You're seeing horror, you're seeing mystery, you're seeing murder, you're seeing procedural. So this didn't happen in the past. and people are liking it and people are watching it. The comment you made earlier about 30% of the content that's being produced on television is societal, that was 99% 2-3 years ago. So the fact that it went down to 30%, this is an achievement in its own. And I think people are hungry for more of that kind of content. So the more you give them content, the more they're going to consume it. And it's just a matter of good content. This whole idea of genres, I'm starting to kind of lose faith in the notion of there is such a thing as a genre. It's a story. And you sometimes you have stories that cross genres. You can have a story that's a love story, and it's a procedural, and it's a drama, and it's a comedy at the same time. So, and the more richness the story has, the more people are going to like it, and the more people are going to watch it. People just want novelty. They want something new. They want something different. And the more you give them, and the better job you do at it, the more they're going to like it, and the more you're going to be successful in doing so.
I think, Abe, you're making my job very difficult by taking away the genres, because that's what we monitor. Otherwise I won't have any data to look at and to,
No. You could still tag content with genres, but
I like your analogy.
But putting them in a single bucket, like there is so much content out there today that just doesn't fall under one or another bucket, and you can't just say if it's going to be this genre is going to be successful. Just saying this genre is what's successful. No, it's the story, it's the effort that the writers put into it. That's what's making it successful. The fact that it's a romance doesn't really add take away from it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I've seen a lot of the productions that the Arabic ones, especially the Saudi and some of the Egyptian as well, having a very interesting twist. But the fact that they, like you said, they're showing on TV as well is something that was very unusual 3 or 4 years ago, when these things were considered too bold for viewing within the family setting, or with in a TV set that's available to everybody. But very interesting analogy. Thank you so much, Abe, for your input.
Sorry to ruin it for you.
You're just making my job difficult. Kamel, I know that this is so far away from the children's world. I mean, we're talking about horror and thriller and all the rest of it, but you do have something very interesting in terms of genres. I mean, in the children's world, it's not just animations, but it's also the stories. And I know that you produced the futuristic Saudi animation, and you've also have a lot of different kind of partnerships going on. Can you tell us more about and also within Ramadan, how things are different within the children's world?
Basically, we try to segment our users or our audience in several segments, and that whole Space Planet we're all about. Like you have Zumurda for girls, action for boys. Bombona and Alpha Planet for preschool and so on. And recently we've launched a new segment called Me and Child, which is dedicated to mothers with their kids. And especially we brought a lot of content that have been consumed really very well on YouTube, like Cocomelon. It's been like almost billions of views on all over the place on YouTube. My Little Baby Bomb and many other preschool content. So we said, like, why we don't bring kind of all content and segments, and we produce at the same time. We put it in the morning as a block for the mom going to work. They feed their children, and they want them to watch safe content. So therefore we try to launch Me and My Child kind of segment, and at the same time we try to integrate different tips and tricks for mothers to how to raise their children in the best way, and especially young mothers who actually grew up on watching Space Tune. So we're trying to continue raising. So is really working well for us now, which is a newly launched segment. We saw a lot of demand on it. Plus, when it comes to the kids, older kids, you could say between 8 to 12 years old, we saw it's also like you have boys love different type of content than girls, and you have then family kind of content that could be consumed in both. And in the boys, we saw a lot of, most of the content or genres that is really challenged. There is something in action, or there's something you could, beat your, let's say challenging, like Beyblade, for example. It's a kind of two balabil, we call it in Arabic, and blades in English. So they fight each other. It's a toy, and it's really doing well, for example. And then you have Mashi Pedal. It's kind of, competition in bicycles. So anything that has almost, challenge sport element, we saw that it's really consumed by kids, and especially, they're so they want to consume their powers. So they try to work on something like we're trying to drive them more into sports. That's actually what's really working well. And then we go as well, like to older age group, like we're also targeting 13 years old and plus. And this is where we have, most of our Japanese anime. Also, we're dubbing in-house for that, and it's really as well working very well. So we're launching as well a new series, and hopefully by May, June, it's something new like Lemons Row, like Sally, but live action. It was like the #1 in the UK. It's so gonna be like, we're really working hard into the dubs as well for it to be like a spectacular kind of, as well for our region in here. So we really are great in doing like also emotional kind of content, drama, family, value-based content. And alhamdulillah, like we were doing very well, and it's gonna continue with that hopefully.
That's a wonderful variety, Kamal. It's but in terms of the partnerships that specifically with platforms that are non-children oriented, do you see? Because you mentioned moms, you mentioned an age group that's older than the child age group. Are you looking at partnerships with other for expansion in the future? Within that space?
So yeah, so basically we're looking for that. At the end of the time, there are gonna be a lot of OTT VOD platforms gonna launch, and there's a lot of global as well coming. I mean, before the competition in the region was only with local TV channels. Coming with the digital side, you're gonna have a lot of local plus global coming. So at the end, like either aggregations or bundle partnerships or consolidation in somehow. You won't see this maybe happening this year. It could be next or like a couple of years, and especially if there's a lot of bigger platforms that is coming to the region. So where I see it there could be a lot of these kind of or partnerships between different platforms that could complement each other at the end of the time. One that is focused on a drama, another could be focused on another kind of shows. For Spacetoon, we complement a lot of platforms that is available in the region, because we're niche into the animation industry, and that's where we're great at, and we're expanding into this. So yeah, we had a lot of discussion into that kind of place, and we could see this something gonna happen this year, hopefully.
Wonderful. That's great. Thank you, Kamel. Walid, I'm going to ask you this last question because I think we're going to run over time before I open the the floor to the last comments from everybody. But I really want to know from you, Walid, about. I know that you're in a very unique position because you are 10 Time is not related to is not attached to a satellite channel, and it has a very specific niche. What are your plans for expansion? I mean, and I know you mentioned that before, but also for upcoming partnerships. And are you looking at things like app-in-app partnerships, or co-production partnerships?
Yes, we are. We're looking to ally with a lot of partners in the region and outside the region. Partners who can provide content and platforms that can piggyback with us on our content. We're also looking to other really niche, unique revenue streams other than just music and show. We'll look at gamification, we're looking at sports, and a lot of other niche markets to add to our app. So our app will be not only music and video, it'll have more to offer to subscribers, hopefully not only Arabs, but for the time being Arabs.
Wonderful. When you say sorry, Walid, just to reconfirm, the 10 Time is a platform that's SVOD. You don't have an AVOD segment, do you?
SVOD, yeah.
SVOD.
We have we on our platform we offer music and show, and the music is similar to Anghami, Spotify, and so on. And there's a lot of conversations now with some players to ally. And we do have our own original music production company now that will hopefully add value to that.
Well, that's very diverse. That's amazing. And do you sell any of the content that you currently have on the platform? Like, is it up for?
Currently, no, but there is. I don't know if Abe mentioned that or Nadine, but we will offer some of our content for first show to maybe TV stations or other SVODs as a strategic move, and then we have second show for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there will be lots of demand for shows that are very exotic and properly dubbed into Arabic. I think that's relatable to the region. Well, thank you so much for your input. I would love to hear the last comments from, we'll start with Nadine. The floor is yours, Nadine.
Yeah, I think we're all in a very exciting business. So every single day there is a new thing to look at and to look forward to. So I'm in this stage all the time. Like since I entered into the digital VOD side of the business, it has been quite a journey, and I believe it's worth it, right? I mean, I think it's so dynamic. It's always interesting to see how new players are coming into the market, where they actually do what we are doing and how we are changing and how we are evolving over the time. At the beginning, when we started, definitely we are not in the same place that we are right now. Looking into this just get me more fueled up and excited to see more and more, whether it is on production, specifically content production, when it comes to producing content for digital platforms, right? I mean, the competition there is fierce. Trying to acquire more users, trying to find your place, trying to always be on the top of all of the different players around you. At the same time, I believe in collaboration at all times. Like, I don't believe that the MENA region is just meant, or the Arabic audiences are going to consume only one player, right? Or that they're going to go and subscribe to one player. I believe that there is a place for everyone to compete, and there's a place for everyone to have a share of this audience as well.
Thank you so much, Nadine. The mic is all yours, Abe, for your last comments.
I really have nothing much to add on top of what Nadine really said. I totally agree with her. The market is big enough for any. Actually, I think the industry is at its infancy stage. There's a lot more that can be done. There's a lot more room for everybody to succeed. I think the Middle East is what? How many hundreds of millions are we? I think it's a myth, the myth of what an Arab viewer wants. There is no such thing as an Arab viewer. There's so many millions of Arab viewers with so many diverse interests and so many diverse tastes. And there's people that don't watch Arabic series in Ramadan and just want to watch Western movies. And there's something for everyone. And if you understand your audience and you provide them what they want, you'll be successful. Whatever it is that you do. And again, yes, there is room for everybody to succeed as long as you're doing what your audience wants. And there's plenty of opportunity to do that.
I absolutely agree with you. And now that it's, the digital revolution, data is becoming more available, more transparent. And so I completely agree with you. Last comments from you, Kamel.
Yeah, so same besides what they said. I mean, innovation growth, could happen in tech in a very different way than what we used to do on TV. So the experimentation, the A/B test that you could do, you try something in Kuwait, different Saudi, different in Egypt. You have the leverage in doing this between what content you want to release or a feature, like how the subscribers' habit or behavior are doing. It's a harder game. It's not easy being into game. I could say we're now in the media tech space or tech media. You need to become first as well, not only to focus on the content, because converting subscribers, and especially we are in the MENA, the credit card penetration and the payment option is really low. So how we could expand that payment reach in the region, it's a big challenge for us, and we're trying our best how to partner telcos, other payment methods that we could use like Saudi, Aman, and so on. So these kind of things that is really important. And watching the whole journey that from whatever he installed the platform into, being a subscriber, and like how to retain him for a month, 2, 3, a year, 2 years, and so on. So these kind of challenges, it's exciting actually, and we could break it through. So that's.
I think a lot of progress has been made since the last years. I completely agree with you, Kamel, on that, specifically with the digital platforms, and it's going to continue improving. I'm going to leave it with that. Walid will have to leave soon. So Walid, any last comments from you?
No, thank you very much. This was very exciting. It's an honor to meet all the lady and the gentleman and everybody. Thank you very much, Hiba. Very well done. And hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today to represent the MENA region. And I really appreciate your time, and thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.